Familiar faces. How many of you been here all 5 years? Wow, cool. Um, we want this to be a fairly relaxed, comfortable kind of a situation here, and we want to make some friends, and we'll take little breaks to have you, talk with each other, meet the people that are at your table and so forth. Just a little bit of housekeeping, and I'm going to totally mess this up. I'm very confident that I'll mess it up. This is why we're partnering this year with the, and we have every year, with the Health Integration and Resiliency Center. And in a minute, I'll have Judy Wolf come up, the executive director, to help me through this stuff. But there's some really important things. Food and bathrooms. Okay, food, you should have, do they have them in their packets, the little meal tickets? Okay, so you should have a couple of those. When you go over across the patio, and we were thinking it'd be sunshiny day, you may have to sprint over, we'll see what happens. But over in the Union Building, just across the quad here, that you can go into any of those places there. They have a sandwich place, and they make really good sandwiches. They have the burger thing. They've got a salad place. The only place that we can't go into is Panda Express. They're not part of the university system. Rumor has it that your passes will work here as well. Exactly what's going to be functioning here, we're not exactly sure, but there's a little cafeteria area. As you go out the door, any questions on food? Just take the little thing over there, and it's a $9 deal. You'll probably have some change left over if you get a sandwich and a drink or whatever. And then as we go to the bathroom, you just kind of go out this hallway. I never did find out where the bathrooms were. You kind of go down the hall and to the which way? To the right. Okay. And so, I mean, those are the really only important things you have to know how to do today. Eat and, do stuff. Okay. We need to thank, first of all of the presenters. The presenters come and just do this for fun. And so generally it's a very comfortable kind of situation. I hope you'll feel free to interact. Did I introduce myself? My name's Glenn Richardson. I have some really way cool doctoral students that are here that are going to help with each of the breakout sessions. And they can answer any question, as they were asking me questions this morning, make sure that we know what's going on here. But we've got, just go ahead and stand up. These are people that are going to help with the breakout sessions and so forth. We've got Paul Anderson. Is Bella here? Bella Johnson, Caitlin Dalton, Kathy Hogan, Tiffany Jagger, Sherry Ming, Katie Portwood, Gloria Stanton, Eileen Throng, and Emily Yates are all warriors. And they're going to be able to help and do whatever it is in terms of helping us out here. We want to recognize our partners. We've got from the Health Integration and Resiliency Center, I'm going to have Judy come up and help me right now. Judy Wolf is the executive director, and she's going to help me as I mess these other kinds of things up. We want to recognize, too, as a partner, the School of Social Work. David Darazotis is here, kind of wave, and is one of our partners this year. And the Peace and Conflicts Group, also David is with that group. My department, the Department of Health Promotion and Education in the College of Health. Yeah, now the library is special. All this stuff, setting up the tables and the speakers and the whole facility. So our host here is the Marriott Library. And the dean of this library is Dean Alberta Comer, and she's been here 2 years? Yeah, 2 years. And she is amazing. And this whole staff, I'm going to have her kind of recognize the staff that's here, but we're doing this because of them. And so let me introduce Dean Comer right now and have her give us a formal welcome, please. Dean Comer.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here. It's my pleasure to welcome you to the J. Willard Merritt Library, which is indeed the flagship academic library for Utah. As a primary service hub and destination for students with nearly 2 million visitors last year, the library is pleased to host this conference. This is the third year we've hosted it. Ideas and themes that have been discussed at previous ones have helped us shape our library services that improve the health and quality of life on our campus. As we offer other new, innovative, and creative services, inclusiveness and universal design will continue to be our guiding principles. Highlights of our work include continuing a 15-year partnership with the Office of Undergraduate Studies and the School of Medicine's Office of Inclusion and Outreach to increase the number of first-generation, underserved, and underrepresented students in the health professions. And I can say I personally can relate to this because I'm a first-generation student. I come from an underrepresented group in Oklahoma, and those kinds of services are so important. First-year students visit the library 10 times to get a grounding in 21st century information literacy skills. Outcomes of this program include nearly 1 out of 2 students attending graduate school and nearly 1/3 going into careers in the health professions. We've also worked on developing our significant collections of the great outdoors, as evidenced by the wonderful display from our Joe Quinney archives. I encourage you to walk up to level 4 and to see this display. And as an added health benefit, you will get a nice walk within the library, which today is probably the best place to be walking around. The library is also home to the Utah Ski and Snowboard Archives. This archives is one of the most comprehensive collections in the entire country for research into the history and development of Utah's prospering winter sports industry. And you probably know it's snowing in the mountains, so it's going to be a great week to go up and go skiing. Another focus of the library is providing physical activity and quality of life interventions, ranging from offering yoga classes, sit-to-stand tables, and spin chairs, and by identifying distraction-free study spaces. We're also offering mobile hotspots as a trial program that the U community can check out and use when they visit a national park or other outside venue and need access to library resources. We also offer Music for Healing, a collaboration between CC Mixter and the Schools of Medicine, Music, Business, and the Merritt Library to facilitate the creation of a new collection of music that focuses on healing while also supporting patients and their families. Another example of the many ways that the library is collaborating with health professionals for the future of medical practice and education is with our 3D printing services and the wonderful staff that we have here to help with those. We recently collaborated on a project that truly transformed someone's life because of 3D printing. Dr. Paul Tanner of the Huntsman Cancer Institute says the future of medicine lies with 3D printing. And there's a 4-year-old who would agree with that. Kai, who was born without one of his ears, has had his life dramatically changed by a 3D printer. The library, working with Dr. Tanner, printed an ear mold formed from a chalk-like powder and binder. It was a mirror image of Kai's existing ear. Using 3D printing offered 21st century medicine that was cheaper, faster, and more precise than the old methods of making prosthetics, and it's already changed the life of this one little boy. Another project we're working on is with the Geospatial Archives for the Downwinders of Utah, this time covering the nuclear weapons testing that had such a devastating impact on the state of Utah. This interactive geospatial timeline was created by one of our library staff members, and we're working with KUAD on a public program about this archive. This archive reminds all of us of the tense and dangerous time in history and the health impact that it continues to have on our state. The library is committed to providing better nutrition to our users by offering healthy food choices, including gluten-free, vegan, and locally sourced foods. We have 2 water bottle filling stations that provide filtered water and that save purchasing water bottles that end up in our landfill. In addition, we have actively reduced our carbon footprint and have installed solar panels. And we support bee colonies on our rooftop. These beehives have provided beeswax for our book art students to use in their academic classes. We're also working with numerous campus partners to improve student well-being by offering a family reading room on level 3 where students can bring their children. This room offers study spaces, computers, a print release station, and lactation room for parents, and child-sized furniture, a really cool train table, children's books, and activity and learning toys for the children. We also offered evening tutoring sessions, a writing center, and help with statistics for our students. And during finals week, we have therapy dogs, and we offer massages to help our students relax as they prepare for exams. A display of books, film, and other media on themes of the conference are available on levels 1 and 3. Librarians April Love and Alfred Maldude can also provide a link to find these resources. And if you'd like more information about digital publishing services, librarian Ann Morrow will be available today and tomorrow from 3 to 3:30 here in the auditorium. 2 important innovations for this year include our work to digitize the proceedings of this conference and record several conference speakers and make video links available after the conference is over. I would like to thank library staff members for their help with their conference. I'm often told how beautiful this library is, and it is. It is a beautiful library. But what's more beautiful are the people who work here. In particular, I'd like to thank Ann Morrow, who worked with Talon Harris to create our EPUB site, and Leah Martin Donaldson, the graphic designer who created flyers and other resources. Conference support was provided by Sarah Malone, our library's conference planning and events coordinator. Recording, video editing, and media streaming is provided by Ron Shoger, our media engineer, and his employees. Additionally, Scott Bigler and Ian Godfrey are keeping the library open late tonight for conference attendees because, as you know, this is spring break. I'd also like to thank Alfred Maldude and April Love for their work with the conference. Let me once again say how very, very happy we are to have you here, and I hope your conference is a great success, as I'm sure it will be. Thank you.
Hi, if you're just coming, find a seat. We have room up here in the front or around. We've put chairs around the sides too to give you some breathing room. I'm Judy Wolf. I'm delighted to have you here. We're excited about this program. We've got some of our best returning speakers. We carefully read every evaluation, so please pull them out of your programs. Fill them out as you go along. Use that one. Okay. Go. Yeah.
You don't want to see me dance.
So try to stay on top of this just because it is important to us, and a lot of the very best speakers you'll hear today are here because you told us you loved them, so we're bringing them back. I wanted to also recognize we're able to put this conference on because of the financial help of a number of generous sponsors, and I want to name them now. It's the Sorensen Legacy Foundation has been an ongoing sustaining partner of ours. Zions Bank, the Larry H. and Gail Miller Family Foundation is a new sponsor this year. And many of you know and love Jerry Sonkins and his family. He's on a mission in Boston. That's why he's not here. But he sends his love, and his family is a financial sponsor, as is Todd and Jill Crossland, new sponsors this year. So we appreciate that. We have because we're filming all the keynotes, we're going to try and have question and answers done on the little cards. So if you have a question, hold it up. We still have microphones. We can run around, but we want to try to keep the audio quality high on the conference, so that's why we're trying it out with the little Q&A cards. And I think that's about it. I want to introduce Glenn Richardson. He probably needs no introduction for about 90% of you. He's been in your world and been an important, I think what I love most about Glenn is the kind of relationship he develops with his students, that it's more like peer-to-peer from what I can tell. And it's also that way with his colleagues around. I've gone to a number of things with Glenn, both related to the conference and related to other projects going on here. And Glenn has this uncanny ability to just make you kind of sidle up and make you feel like one of his best buddies. So that's one of the things I really enjoy most about working with Glenn. He has all kinds of academic credentials, but that's what I love most about working with Glenn. So please help me welcome Glenn.
So this is a little weird to introduce and so forth, and then get reintroduced.
That's how you put it on. Is this good enough quality? Are you getting it? Okay.
Tasting. 1, 2, 3, 4. Is it on?
Yeah, but move it up a little bit. See this? I'm your best friend, so I can do this.
Okay. Is this working? Yeah. Because I can't hear anything from here. Okay. Thank you for coming again. My job today is to try and introduce kind of an overview of what's happening here. You know, when we think about all of the things that are going on, I mean, we go back to, you know, the Eastern healing arts, the, you know, Chinese medicine. We thought, oh, you know, that's really wonderful, and which it is. We go back to the Ayurveda, and all of that healing. I mean, we've been doing complementary medicine for centuries. And so as we look at all the different approaches, I mean, there's a whole bunch of them. I just put a few up here. We look at Chinese medicine, the Ayurveda, indigenous healing. We're fortunate to have an indigenous healer with us that's going to come tomorrow or sometime. We look at complementary medicine. We no longer use alternative medicine. No one uses alternative medicine anymore, do we? That's what's that?
There's a 12-step program.
Yeah, 12-step program to get off of that. So, yeah, in other words, you don't bail on traditional medicine.
Keep talking, I promise not to tickle.
You know how awkward this is.
As bad as in police academy, so.
Okay. And so we have this, you know, complementary. What supports traditional medicine? And I think that's what we are about here, is to see some of the techniques that are going to be helpful with traditional medicine. Alternative medicine is no longer gone, although that's still popular some places. We've got the integrative medicine. We've got the National Whole Health Institute. Anybody familiar with that? I mean, you get online and you look at it, and they've got a whole organization that's called Whole Health. I keep thinking I'm going into a grocery store when I see that, but you know, we have the whole health room, the positive health, the mind-body stuff. We have all of these terms. And so traditionally we had Chinese medicine, and you know, and then all of a sudden, what was it, Rene Descartes or whatever, kind of decided that we're going to get very, very narrow, and we're going to fix a particular bone or a particular organ. And then we had the evolution of modern medicine. But then people started to realize that back in the old days, we were a little more inclusive, different dimensions of health. And so now we had Albert Dunn, 61, had a book called High Level Wellness. And all of a sudden, we're shifting to the positive. We're shifting to an integrative approach, body, mind, spirit. And so, you know, he's kind of in the recent revolution. Bill Hetler, the whole group at the Wellness Institute in Stevens Point, Wisconsin, presented there a couple times back in the day. And, you know, they had this new journal come out, Health Values Achieving High-Level Wellness. That particular journal doesn't exist anymore. It's turned into the Journal of Health Promotion, something like that. And so, you know, but see, we started talking about these different dimensions of health. And so if we wanted to help someone, we would go in and we go, okay, so here we do our physical health. Well, we know a lot about that stuff. You know, we're going to go and do your exercise, do your nutrition, get your sleep and this kind of thing. And, you know, if you have a good occupation, you're going to be happy. And so we have these different dimensions. And then there's all the literature out there about the 5 dimensions of health, about the 7, about the 8, about the 9 dimensions of health. But we were still segmenting. It was interesting to go to these conferences and they'd talk about this philosophically, but then they'd end up talking about nutrition and sleep and exercise. Okay? And so we didn't know how to handle these vague things like spirituality. So things have evolved. And so, you know, again, we, you know, in medicine, you know, Hans Selye with the stress response, the general adaptation syndrome, that how we think is going to affect our bodies. Okay. And certainly, you know, Robert Ader and came up with the term psychoneuroimmunology, psycho, which some people call me that, psycho, nervous system, and the immune system. You know, and so you have this interplay. And that got to be even more elaborate. It was psychoneuroimmunoendocrinology, but, you know, just what they're trying to do is see if they can get a word that'll fill the whole slide at this point. But so, you know, so we have this whole revolution going on. And I just put a few of these things up here. This is not for you to remember or to think about, but to recognize that we're in the middle of this amazing revolution, this movement. And so, you know, the acorn theory that, you know, we're born this way and we're growing into an energy field, into potential. You have the string theory, which those of you who have had my classes know that I have a little bit of an addiction to this particular thing, suggesting that we are walking, living, and breathing in a sea of energy, and it's common amongst all of us. Way cool stuff, and we're going to talk about this. Love molecules of emotion. Candace Pert, you know, I mean, these are all things, and there's the long word. I need to get a little psychoneuroimmunoendocrinology, trying to get all the way across. The whole, you know, we look at the diamond now, the path with heart, the Tao, theism. Theism is, most people still believe in some form of deity. And so in academia, let's not touch it. We're the University of friggin' Utah, and we're not going to touch anything about theism. You know, we have to be professional. They do that 40 miles to the south. And so, am I just going to go ahead and haul off and shoot myself here? All right. So, you know, I think we're fascinated with the collective unconscious, that our ability to think, that we think we are so smart, but the reality is it's just a tip of the iceberg, and even smaller than the tip of the iceberg in terms of our potential. This vast reservoir that the wisdom of the ages is housed within us. And how do we access this? Well, this is the techniques that we're going to be talking about in this conference help you to access this amazing wisdom. We love the indigenous philosophies. We've got, actually, is it tomorrow that we're going to be talking about this and have a presentation of an opening ceremony with this, integrative medicine, positive psychology, all this stuff. And now, with this model that I'm going to show to you, and it's going to be elaborated upon by these magnificent graduate students tomorrow, whenever. I have no idea when anybody's doing anything. But there are these amazing synonyms out there that talk about this vague thing that, you know, we're in this sea of energy and enlightenment and the nature of that. And so how do we access that? And what is it? And these are a bunch of words that go up there that say, well, this is what we call it, because everybody has to put their own name on stuff, you know. And so, you know, you look at heart and soul and kunlang and prana, and I mean, everyone that's into this stuff is giving it their name, but the essence and the nature of it is kind of the same. Okay, I want you to know, and my graduate students seen this, I made this myself. I got a PhD, and I drew this guy here. Okay, so we're going to be talking about the body, the mind, the spirit, and the world that we live in. And all of the science says that we are part of this system, this energy field, and that our body is really made up of a whole bunch of these little baby particles, and that our mind is made up of that, and our human spirit is all of this, and our ego system is made up of part of this stuff too. And the other half of the M on the end didn't get all the way over. But you see, if we're walking, living, breathing, smelling, tasting, and part of an energy field, and the only thing that limits us is the difference between what we're thinking, our conscious minds, we've got to do something to be able to access this field. We're going to be talking about that here. And so, again, we have all of these different things, and the nature of these energy things is that there's limitless energy. And depending on which book you read, talk about a cubic meter of space, that within that if it's string theory, that a string is 100 billion times smaller than an atom. But that's only like a half a photon's worth of energy. But that's 100 billion times smaller than an atom. And so if you put that little bit of energy in a cubic meter of space, there's enough energy in there to boil the oceans. So you're going, okay, this is mind crazy. Crazy stuff. Unlimited memory. They connect and they learn, and connection between everything. There's instant communication across the force. The only limits that come is with our conscious thinking. And so now we have gotten a lot of miles out of traditional thinking with medicine. Okay? Here is a problem. We can do surgery, we can do something chemical or whatever, but every physician knows that the magic is that the body naturally heals itself if we can get some of the barriers out of the way. But we are in for decades and centuries of trying to understand how to access the field, this world. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. I want to just kind of throw out this model, and as I mentioned, the graduate students are going to elaborate on this in their session tomorrow. But in one sense, we have our bodies, and our bodies are extremely wise. We talk about intuitive eating, to know, what to eat, when to eat, and what's going to make us, feel good. So we have this. We want to live pain-free. We want to be active. These are all the drives that we have. So consequently, now you'll be able to go to sessions in this conference about stuff that kind of have a physical origin. All right, so we're going to focus in on acupuncture. We're going to do some nutrition stuff. We're going to get some physical fitness health coaching stuff. We've got these programs going on here, next 2 days, and you can look at them. We also have our intellectual health, and we have the drive to know, to understand, to be able to discern what works for us, what doesn't work for us, to resolve problems. So we study, we learn, and then we try to resonate to what is going to work for us. So now we have body, mind. But what we did anciently and what we are doing now is we are studying the vast, wonderful world of this whole spiritual world. Now, I ain't talking religion, okay? Because this is certainly the University of Utah. Go Utes. But we are talking about some really cool stuff. And so those of you who've heard me before know, this is, okay, he's going to talk about this stuff again. But we're talking about energy-producing stuff, okay? We're talking about our sense of adventure. And we're doing some adventure therapy stuff today or tomorrow or whenever. Hey, I've got this program memorized. Don't mess with me. Okay. And, you know, the fun, we want play and humor and spontaneity. And, I mean, this is us. This creates a lot of energy. And why don't we, you know, gather that to try and do something with it? We also have our sense of self-worth. I mean, there's all this self-esteem stuff. And how do we get that to have meaning and purpose in life? There's all this stuff on there. Character, resilience, honesty, integrity. We want to feel this stuff. So consequently now, we have programs that are going to address these today. Some folks are going to be talking about resilience in general, these driving forces that we all can call spiritual health. But we've got a program on adventure therapy, play therapy, and I don't know what we got, but you get the gist here, right? And so then, do I do this every year? Come up here and act like I don't know what's going on? I do this every year. Okay, got it. All right. So they're going to kick me out here pretty soon. And so we look at esteem building and altruism and care. I mean, these are all important spiritual concepts that help us to be able to deal with life. And certainly character is a energy conserving dimension of life. What's that mean? So if I am being honest, then I'm pretty much guilt-free, right? If I lie and care about it, then I'm going to feel guilty. And guilty is an energy drainer. So the whole sense of character resilience, or your sense of character, is in fact that we want to live within our sense of integrity, that we do what we say we're going to do and so forth, only because you don't want to feel guilty about stuff, right? It's all about positive energy and producing stuff so that you can deal with life. And so this is body, mind, spirit in a nutshell. Is there more? Yeah. And so here's we've got the basic stuff, but then we also have this thing called ecological resilience. And this slide didn't go all the way down as we transferred here, but the environment can give us energy. All right? And then we're also going to talk about other folks and how they give us energy. This gathering today is about getting together and talking, seeing what each other's doing, and you create some energy. Friendships have evolved from this particular conference. And that's good. And resources. And we're also going to talk about our drive to connect with a source of strength beyond normal consciousness. And so this is the universal resilience piece. Okay. Well, let's go into a little more depth on that. So with ecological resilience, today and tomorrow, I have no idea when, we will be talking about things like animal therapy, ecological resilience. How is it that hanging around with a puppy or a dog makes you feel good? Well, it's the good vibrations. Beach Boys. It feels good. All right? And that's with a dog. It's with, rats and guinea pigs. Cats. Well, cats. Cats have a little attitude, Here, kitty, kitty. Okay. But most pets. All right. And certainly music therapy. And we're going to be talking about that today in your presentations. Get the energy. I mean, you can design your whole day based on the energy that you need. I mean, if you wake up in the morning and you need to get up, then you put on Sigurd's good old rock and roll. You know, I may be dating myself a bit, but you get it, right, Lee? All right. And if you need to be spiritual, you can create this external influence to your body, mind, and spirit to be able to feel spiritual. There are certain things that you can listen to. Nature therapy. We're going to have some stuff on that. How can you go out into wherever you need to go and feel the energy that comes from the world? And I mean, is there any science to that? Absolutely. You know, you got to read Candace Pert's book, Rest in Peace. She talks about energy coming off the earth and from trees at 7.8 hertz. A very peaceful, calming kind of a vibration. Okay? And so if you're there, and you know, you've been out there, you feel it. Okay. Again, we look at synergistic resilience. I'm not sure that we have too much here about how to do, you know, couple therapy or family therapy and so forth, but certainly the experience here with all you people with common interests is going to be synergistic for you. And then this baby right here. And this is the area that I really enjoy talking about. I've spent a lot of time thinking about this area of how do we put, you know, tangible stuff with universal resilience. How do we access a source of strength that is kind of beyond us and be able to get all the benefits, all the things that we want. And when I say what we want, we're not talking about cars and homes. We're talking about peace and comfort and joy and courage and all these wonderful attributes. And where, you know, where is this? Well, again, you go to Jungian psychology. The wisdom of the ages is housed within us. You can access Aristotle or Gandhi or Mother Teresa or whoever in spirit if you go into Jungian psychology. Some of you know something about psychology are going, this guy's an idiot, but you know, let's go ahead and kind of play that game for a little bit. We know that if we look at string theory, again, we're walking in this sea of energy to be able to feel good. And that sea provides all the peace and comfort that we want. I don't know. We're going to do some indigenous healing kinds of practices. This is so cool because when you're going through working with your conscious mind going, okay, so how do I do this? How do I do this? How do I do this? To take a peaceful moment and to get some insight, some intuitive kinds of things, the aha moments. And there's a whole continuum of aha moments to actually some people having miraculous kinds of spiritual experiences. And that's good stuff to help you know what to do and when to do it. And so some of the techniques, you know, meditation, prayer, and so forth. But this, my friends, is what we're talking about in this conference. So any of the sessions that you go to will talk about maybe one or two of these things. But what is way cool is that if you are doing pet therapy, it affects the whole system, right? It's an integrated system. Okay, if you're doing the music, it does the whole system. Now, you guys seem to be fairly comfortable and relaxed and stuff, and I told my wife I was going to tell a story, and she said don't. But she's not here. But I mean, very practical, a normal experience. Okay, so college, dating, all right? And dating was important to me in college, that's the main reason why most people go to college. And so there was this one woman, Debbie, that I had been kind of wooing and talking to and stuff, and finally got the courage up to ask her out. But I was going to be really creative and stuff, and so I had this cute little stuffed animal and this little note and stuff, and took it to her work and put it on her desk. Said, would you like to go out on a certain night? Now, I said, can you call me this evening sometime, around 8 or so? And so I waited. At 7:30, my energy level was just off the charts. Okay, all right, I'm gonna call her pretty soon. Okay, all right, here it comes. 5 to 8, my roommates were going, you're an idiot. You know, I mean, you're just waiting anxiously to have this happen. And then finally, 8 o'clock came, and no call. 2 minutes afterwards, then I started to beat myself up. Okay, Richardson, can you believe you had the nerve to ask Debbie out? I mean, she's a cheerleader and all this other kind of stuff, yada, yada, yada. You know, the whole college crap that you go through. And quarter after, I just beat myself up. I'll never be able to face her again. 8:30, now I was on the floor, just not even being able to move. My roommates weren't sure what to do with me. At 8:45, I was having a near-death experience. I mean, it was just, I was just going, I will never be able to face this woman again, ever. And so what has happened here? I had these expectations. You know, I wanted to be able to, you know, be connected, you know, socially, but synergistically, and to be able to kind of hold her hand and stuff, and you know, all these things I wanted over here, and the anticipation was just, you know, exciting. At 8:45, all of these things went away, and I was just going, and physically I was shot on the floor, going, oh, no. At 8:45, the phone rang. It was Debbie. I'm sorry, I had to stop by my folks. I had to call a little bit later. I'd love to go. I finally understood the whole concept of resurrection. Because all of a sudden, I mean, in a heartbeat, I was moonwalking, I was tap dancing, I was jumping all over the place. Okay. See, life is about energy, and it's this whole system. So what's in your mind and expectations here, and, you know, but, you know, when you think about it, nothing happened except there were vibrations coming off the phone and hit my tympanic membrane. I mean, seriously. But yet, it just made me crazy fun and exciting. And gosh, you know, we went out once, and then she shut me down after that. But you know, so this is the system that we want to talk about. And let me just briefly go over a little bit more about resilience and resiliency, again, because several of your presenters are going to use this. So I will not explain this in detail. I don't want to steal their thunder. But we are talking about the journey. You're coming here, and it is a disruption in your life. Number one, it's daylight savings time, and this is really early. But number two is that you're breaking up your comfort zone, your routine, to come to the U, and you're going to go through change and opportunities and stressors and lots of crazy things, but hopefully you're going to surface afterwards and be stronger because of it. And so the journey basically is kind of like this. It's the whole journey of resilient reintegration. You're kind of here in your comfort zone, and now you're facing, you know, and you go through a routine, you've got stressors, you've learned to cope with them, but here's a new thing. Here's a new conference. You've been here 5 years before, but there's new things. The reason you can keep coming back is we have 4 breakouts, and some are repeats, but there's always new ones. And so this is why we keep doing. But here's a new experience, and so it's a disruption. You're going to feel uneasy. You know, there's new people, a little bit uncomfortable, whatever. You're going to go through some aha moments. This whole resonation quick, and you go, oh yeah, this is cool, and I understand what this is. And then ultimately, you're going to leave this hopefully stronger with some new information. 2 arrows to 3. People accuse me of being an arrows and circles guy, but I don't get it. But ultimately, life is about a whole bunch of these disruptions. And then we grow through them, and we're going to have some presentations about this. And so when we talk about a new experience, you're going to learn something. You go to a session, you haven't done anything with music therapy before. And you're going to go, whoa, this is kind of way cool. And so we'll go through that, and you'll go, okay, how does this fit into my world? And you're going to end up smaller. This is the Resiliency, the journey, the process. My former doctoral students are going, boring, heard it, been there, done. Okay, all right. So, we can actually map this stuff out very, with all the moods that go with it. And here we have our eco-bio-psycho-spiritual homeostasis. Again, I'm trying to fill the dang slide. The life events, and so you map this stuff out. And so you get the aha moment, and you create a whole new identity, the self-mastery, to really make it happen. This is a journey we go through over and over again. And all I'm trying to do is say, what the, and then you're going to hear sessions that will talk about this resiliency process in more detail. Okay, and sometimes we don't do anything with it, and sometimes we recover with loss, depending on the situation. Okay, and let me just mention, before I run out of time here, this whole concept of resilience. Resiliency is the journey. Resilience is the force. Star Wars. Awesome. Okay? It is the force. And so it's something that everyone has. And what's so cool when you are working with clients or within yourself, that these people have this driving force inside of them. And it's a matter of trying to access that. And so, we have, as I've alluded to earlier today, this childlike nature. We're talking about character resilience, noble resilience, ecological resilience, universal resilience, the essential, playfulness, integrity, morals, altruism, service, here, self-esteem, the world around you, connecting with your universal source of energy, and of course, the whole physical thing, and then the control center to figure all this stuff out. Hopefully, by the end of the conference, these things will all make sense to you.